Justin is also a freelance graphic designer who has worked with the Gas Station Village Market, University of Manitoba Faculty of Architecture, and Urban Idea. That's an initiative by the Winnipeg Arts Council. You can regularly catch his work as a volunteer illustrator for both the Manitoban and the United. Graduate of the environmental design program from the U of M, Justin also strongly identifies himself as a Hufflepuff. Please welcome Justin Ladia.
Hi, before I give the slide master the finger, I promised my mom I'd do something, and I'm really embarrassed. But she's like, Justin, you should take a selfie on stage. And I'm like, okay, Mom. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna do it because I can. So, okay, 1 second, please. Okay. All right. Oh, wait, I need the front camera. I don't take selfies. Okay. Oh, it's dark. I don't care. Smile, everyone. Okay, that's great. Thanks for putting the lights on. I didn't know that. Okay, slide master, I'm ready. Hi, my name is Justin, and I like to frequent basements. I've worn huge glasses for most of my life, and I carry a portable game system almost every day. In short, I'm a nerd, and proud of it. To paraphrase John Green, a nerd is defined by their overzealous enthusiasm and appreciation for a particular type of thing, and my genre of nerdery happens to be tabletop games. Tabletop games include any board, card, dice, role-playing, and board game which you can enjoy on any flat surface. Although I freak out the most over a well-designed board game, I'm proud to say that I've enjoyed playing all kinds of tabletop games, from the humble Snakes and Ladders to the dark underbelly that is Dungeons and Dragons. Board gaming is great because it's the only type of activity where you can screw your friends over by taking their imaginary property and park their play cash, while at the same time bond over which of the original 150 Pokemon you and your friends would be. Side note, I would be a Farfetch'd. As a graphic designer and marketer, they're particularly good for my vocation, as it marries art, interface, and strategy. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about my history of board games. My first memory of geeking out was formed while visiting family in California. From my perspective, the opera cabinets lining each wall of their garage was filled with games to discover. As an excitable 4-year-old, my mind probably made what I saw seem more vast, but I swear at that moment, I heard the voice of an angel say, "So, which one do you want to play first?" This actually my cousin. It wasn't until I was able to earn my money that I was able to fully immerse myself into board games again. Through working minimum wage, I luckily met a group of friends that also enjoyed endless nights of rolling dice and, hypothetically, raising hell every weekend. Settlers of Catan was our gateway board game, and it took us on a slippery slope to nerdier and more complex games. But as each of us grew up and arguably matured, we had less time to dedicate in our friends' basements, so one of us decided to expand our social circle by looking for friends on Kijiji. We got some interesting responses from several people we probably wouldn't as well with, but we did eventually find one group of strangers that we decided to meet in person. Turns out the people we met weren't complete strangers to me, as we found out that I personally already knew two of them from school. So after passing into these friend auditions, we agreed to meet regularly from then on. For the next year or so, we would play together so often that we would eventually be invited to attend 2 of their weddings. The moral of the story? Friends that play board games together stay together unless you play Risk. Side note, if you want to keep your board game friends for a while, know that each person will pick a specific colored piece. Straying from this leads to mild but hilarious consequences. Also, because I've played with a number of people over the years, I have this theory that certain types of people will pick a specific color. I myself always pick yellow, and I like to think that it's probably because of the Hufflepuff thing. Anyway, besides board games being good for keeping and making friends, they also appeal to my sensibilities as a designer. I tend to gravitate towards games with incredibly detailed components that seamlessly tie in with all the other pieces. At the moment, the games that are part of my collection are there because of their pieces, or the cards, or because the board itself pieces together in an interesting way. Designing board games is particularly important because there are many variables to consider in a game. Information should be presented logically so that the game is easier to play and understand. Things to consider include icons to represent and differentiate between points, resources, spaces of play, and the sort, and how pieces and components interact with the board. So because it's much about interface and artistic quality as it is about mechanics and gameplay, I believe board games presents a unique challenge for graphic designers. I would even go so far to claim that board game design is somewhat related to UX and UI. That being said, and being the kind of person who's always up for a little design challenge, I once endeavored to develop a board game of my own. The first thing I decided on was its theme. Theme ties in the concepts behind rules and mechanics, allowing a game to make sense to its players. Without it, Settlers of Catan would lose its appeal and its goal of being the best at defining the land for the good of your own species, and mainly be about acquiring, trading, and using colors to get sticks to put in between hexagons. For my game, I knew I had to pick a theme that I could pull from experience, so that I can easily come up with its rules and mechanics. For entertainment value, I needed a theme that seemed ridiculous from an outsider's perspective, but I could make even more ridiculous in game form. So that's why I approached my friend Sean with the idea to make a game that made fun of our experience in the Faculty of Architecture. While I appreciate the faculty for the opportunities and the lessons I learned, in the grand scheme of things, what I did in order to get a passing mark was frankly strange. Having to balance a part-time job, basic physiological needs, and demanding coursework that I required to do things like pull an all-nighter to sand 120 pieces of cardboard, for example, was something that I thought was complex and entertaining enough to translate into a viable game. So far, here's what we came up with. The game would play out a year in school with 2 rounds for each semester. Each round, players need to earn money, buy materials, gain the favor of the studio professors, and maintain peer connections in order to submit the round's project on time with a level of quality that's reasonable while managing their character's sleep cycle in order to earn the most points. Players start by choosing a student to play as during the game. These students are very loosely based on people I knew from school, and each of them have specific abilities which help the players with their projects. Some are more well-off and are more able to buy materials. Others are able to work on less sleep. Some easily receive the support of their peers, and some are really good at networking with professors. During each turn, players choose to expend energy to work at their job, beg money from their parents, buy materials, talk to their prof, or build their project. The number of actions players are allowed to take is based on how much sleep they get the round before. Players can take extra actions if they buy an expensive coffee at the consequence of sacrificing sleep, and therefore actions for the next round. Coffee can also be used to sabotage by spilling the drink on their opponent's grounds. At the end of the round, players will submit their project whether or not it's been completed, and they score points based on how much of it was complete, its quality, how much sleep they had the day before presentations, and how much bias the professor has towards a student. The player who does the best throughout the year wins the hypothetical prize in the game, a job. As you can see, board games can be used as a medium to relay an experience, fictional or not. And with so many board games out there, each having different themes and ideas, there are many experiences players can choose to have. Each game gives you a story to play through, and each playthrough is never the same as the last, so there's a vast wealth of possibilities out there. I've really only scratched the surface of the great genre that is the tabletop game. With things like companion apps, metagames, and the dawn of the board game cafe, there's way too much of the topic to fit into 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so I'll finish by encouraging each of you to discover what is out there by playing more games. My name is Justin Ladia. I'm a board gaming nerd and proud of it. Thank you very much.